That's absolutely some type of semi-automatic weapon that someone's just rapid firing. Welcome to the Trash Cats Trashcast. I'm Richard.
I'm Steven.
And today I'm chock-a-block full of leftover lasagna and tiramisu. I'm filled with the stuff, Steven. I got all this Christmas food left in my stomach.
You Santa Claused?
I'm becoming the Santa Claus. I'm just waiting for my beard to turn white and my hair to get all curly and start climbing down people's chimneys.
I'm getting hella white hairs. It's weird.
You're getting old, man.
Weird shit. So good Christmas?
Yeah, really good. You know what? I gotta tell you, this is the first year in a long time where I felt like a semblance, a kind of a touch of the quote unquote Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good. My depression's been low. I think having my niece up here has been super helpful. It's been good for me. We usually do a holiday party kind of thing, but it was a good year. And, the weather wasn't too bad. We did have a little bit of icy rain in the morning of the party. And then, that made it, some slippery walkways for people. But, I got out there, iced it down. It wasn't too cold. It was pretty nice. But yeah, that's the vibe lately. I got like some new earrings and some, little, cool shit to, use for my next work season and whatever.
Some shiny shit?
Yeah, some little shiny shit. It's been nice.
Oh, yeah.
How about you? How's your week been?
So, all right, this is going to be a bit of a rant, but so
let's go.
To preface the context, we had a whole art philosophy episode prepped, which we're not getting rid of. We're going to circle back to. But then all the Christmas shenanigans totally got me off track. And I think I have to rant about it a little bit, and we're just going to freestyle.
That sounds excellent. I know you did share with me some details of your Christmas experiences this year.
These people are insane. So Christmas, they're insane. I'm pretty much annoyed to varying degrees with nearly everyone in my family. Okay? And as much as I'm tempted to, I don't want to over talk about it on here because I'm pretty sure I'll just torch like 5 relationships in one go.
That's incredibly fair.
I could easily torch at least 5 of these motherfuckers. But because I literally cannot bite my tongue, we're going to do a little taste. And if anyone hears this, just know that this is my art. and that I'm half venting and half super fucking serious.
And you have to figure out which half that is.
Yeah, we'll see. So, first, a doctor told me vaccines don't work, that they made people sicker, and then a lawyer told me that both sides are bad, but that it's a good thing now that the corruption is out in the open. And everyone then bowed their heads and prayed to thank Jesus for the food. Quote, he's actually right here in the room with us. And I really just wanted to thank my aunt for cooking. But I think my favorite part was that at the end of Christmas Eve, I got a very misunderstood explanation from an adult about why race realism is actually a good thing. Just that Christmas spirit, Yeah,
it gets in all of us, and it just kind of takes hold. And
then all my conversations afterward of me like venting about this, about race realism, about the dumb a lawyer is literally telling me corruption in the open is better than corruption behind closed doors. It's all equal. They're all bad. And a doctor saying don't take vaccines. And by the way, what about race realism, guys? And then when I vent about race realism shit, somehow I'm the racist one. Of course. Yeah. So my thoughts, honestly, I've been like kind of stewing a bit because these are people that were very kind to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like very nice to me all evening, and not all of them, but some of them in a very condescending manner, because I haven't seen this side of the family in like either 5 or 6 years, like since before I was sober. I've just been like pieced out, didn't want to see anybody, and I think a lot of them were like happy to see me and like doing a lot of the like, oh, you look so healthy kind of thing, which is always fun. And like they treated me interpersonally like very, very compassionately, right? But while they talk about their fun little ideas, no one once in, I mean, even prior to this, years, my entire adult life, has ever asked me like what I think or what I feel. And when they say things I don't care for, I do push back, but I really don't want to engage in it with people that aren't interested in hearing from me.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, mutual combat is great, but for people who are like, they just like yapping about their fun stuff because they sense you might disagree but don't want to hear your point of view is not really worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
And although I don't really mind nuking these people, but there's not much of an upside. There's plenty.
Yeah.
There's plenty of annoying downsides. And ultimately, what I keep going back to is that almost no one there really knows anything about me. So fuck it. And I was thinking of like, what does it mean to know people? Like, what is extended family? And I feel like to know a person is to know what they believe, what they feel, and what they do. And a lot of these people might have ideas of what they think I am to them, but I can't really think of almost anyone that knows even two of the three, even relatively closely.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's just super disappointing. Like, it just fucking sucks to leave a place and where everyone was very nice to you, but if they weren't related to you, they would think you're like shit scum, ruining their perfect Christian fascist anti-science world. And there's not like a good opportunity to fight with them so much. So I don't know, 2026. Here's my plan. This is what I've decided. These were my conclusions, okay?
Okay.
2026. I'm going back into my cave, okay? You thought I was out in the world a lot already? I'm going indoors, and I'm going to continue to plot the downfall of their dumb worlds while I keep building mine. So I'm just going to go full Golem mode, bro. I'm trying to get precious with it, bro. So my plan is I'm going to amass a stash of precious powders, and I'm booby trapping my tunnels, and I'm just going to admire my own art and reflections in my cave. I'm going full anti-world. I'm just going to trap hobbits and eat raw fish. That's my game plan.
That sounds very dope. I will say your yard and house is especially nice for booby traps.
Yeah.
I think you have a good setup there, for little, tripwires and, what's
Claymores.
the thing that rope? Yeah, I was going to say the one that, like, the rope that, like, lofts you up, grabs your ankle, and hangs you in the air.
Looney Tunes.
Yeah, Looney Tunes shit. Yeah, I think you can do that, and I think aesthetically it will be fun.
Yeah.
To do. I support that 100%.
I really do feel that way. I feel more. I do feel. Not just because of Christmas, but I do feel more anti-world than...
Yeah.
I think in the past it used to be way more this way, and then I kind of got a little balance away from it, and I feel like I'm leaning back into, like, full fuck the world mode.
Yeah, I can definitely see, and at least I feel this way, that Christmas, like, holiday kind of season, makes it feel... It's more in your face. A lot of the kind of hypocrisy of so much of it is like, oh, it's peace on earth and this and that. It's like, okay, it's fun to say that and that's cool, but it's so extremely real right now. Like if we were to get down to our core beliefs and talk about them, like there wouldn't be peace in this fucking living room, let alone on earth.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of... I think that, like I said, that just kind of makes it bubble to the surface a little more. I think most of the time, at least I try to, not push it down and ignore it so much as like, you got to find distractions sometimes. It's fucking dwelling on shit that makes you, furious all the time. I know you're a different breed and you swim in the hate, but I think most people don't operate like that.
It just feels like extra disappointing, both from family. Not that these things are surprises, like I've known this about these people, but it really it just like blows me away every time that the people making the comments I disagree with most are literally experts in their field. They are rich experts in their field, preaching the exact opposite of what you would hope or expect from them.
Yeah.
And that to me is just like the mind-breaking impact of modern politics of what, like, I feel like it's almost they're preempting what they think I would think.
Yeah.
So they lay out, like, I haven't said anything about politics, but it gets to the point of like, they're talking about it and looking at me, and then they go to both sides are terrible. They're both so terrible, even though our background is in law and in politics and our family politics, and it's both so bad. But at least the Republicans are out in the open. And hey, are you a Republican yet? Like that type of shit, where it's like,
yeah,
I didn't bring up any of this to you, and if we're gonna go there, I'm willing to fight, but they don't want to. They're not interested in hearing from me. So it's like, I just expect more from people that pretend to or think they love me. And I don't know. It feels like a charade. Like, why are we pretending this? Or
yeah. There's a phrase that I appreciate, and it's that, not every doctor graduates top of their class. And it applies to everything, to every field of like, you could be, to say, okay, this person is a doctor does not mean that they are a good doctor or a great doctor even. It does not mean anything beyond they completed the tasks that were set to them to get the title and be able to operate as a doctor. And that applies to law and shit too. So when someone from that field, like I think everyone at this point, once you've gone to a couple different doctors in your life, you've met some who are like, didn't really seem like they gave a shit. This didn't really seem
yeah.
like they, and it's like, are they just having a bad day, or that's just how they operate?
Fuck doctors, lawyers, and politicians. I don't trust the police or the justice system.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
But that's like bad way of thinking in a way. And I know what you mean. There's always exceptions. But these are people not just like broadening the scope from my family. These are like people that exercise power in society. I don't like the like fuck the billionaires, fuck the powerful, fuck the rich people shit. I really don't like that type of thinking either. But the what I'm getting at more is like these are people that spent a lot of time and energy, that have influences in these fields, that have money and notoriety because and for their work, and that didn't used to. Maybe they did, but maybe I feel like their thinking has changed. Like modern current politics, Trump in particular, really brain raped people into justifying or endorsing behavior that they never would have got to previously.
Yeah.
Like things have changed. The internet, this shit has changed people. Like the environment is not the same anymore. And
Right.
I think particularly older people like really are really lost in it all.
Yeah. There's a part of it. We've talked about this part at length of like, it's sad to a degree. And then there's a certain point where it's like, this isn't sad anymore. This is embarrassing.
That's how I feel.
It's hard to feel. I think it's hard to shake that sometimes when it's your family.
Yeah.
That's like, it's hard to shake it's sad part. The like, the person that you once knew and once grew up with, or however close you were to them, like you at least had this opinion of who they are. And to see that shattered in a way of like, the first couple years, it's like, okay, they're falling into this, but they can, whatever, they're just, fucking confused about something. I can send them a video, or I can talk to them about this or give them a few solid points and they'll understand. And then the more that time goes on and you've had these discussions and you point out like blatant hypocrisy and, points that should be like not even a conversation. It's just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Now that you say it that way, that absolutely makes sense. And they're like, double down and refuse to identify logic. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I tried. Until as you get to the point where it just, like it starts to feel like, I don't know, it feels like a loss.
It does, because you start being much more willing to cut these people out. And it's not like, oh, it's just about politics. It's like, no, this is what people believe. And for me, all of politics grinds down to philosophy. Like these are people whose religion tells them, love thy neighbor, it's supposed to be one of the highest things. Love God first, of course, and then love thy neighbor.
Yeah.
And I feel like objectively, I should be categorized as like a relatively cruel person. Like I believe in violence. I believe like things that compared to the stated values of a Christian would be much more cruel or willing to dabble. Sorry, excuse me. I was like, oh God.
Oh no, you all right?
Oh God, that Warhead gummy did damage.
Came up.
It did damage to my sinuses. I feel like I should fit in the category of more cruel much more easily than the stated values of the average Christian. But the things they are arguing for politically, for some reason, they think it's exempt from their life philosophy, their choice of religion. And I've tried running this one at my parents before, and I feel like something landed, but they don't understand still. It's like the world in which they are even if it's reluctant, even if they think both sides are bad and politics is dumb, it doesn't matter, their church matters more, they're still, consistently voting, and the world in which both their church and their vote is fighting for is a world in which I would be dead because the medications that saved my life aren't available, and they would be watching my kids right now. Like that. Yeah. And for that not to like make sense at all, like to a group of religious people that the primary goal is empathy, while fighting in every other area of their life against that, it's just like infinitely disappointing. Like the fact that I've known these people or these things my whole life, it will never cease to disappoint me. And I don't feel like always surprised by it, but it is always, every reminder of it is always such a bummer. It's like, why? and for the world they're fighting for to be that way, it literally does not make sense for them to love me. Not so much my parents, but people in these categories.
Yeah.
If I openly state my full intention against these things and dedication to the death of these things, unless you are just fully ignoring me, which is incredibly condescending, there is no reason for there to be this incoming compassion to someone explicitly against what they want. And I feel like if there was like a true honesty or understanding, that incoming compassion would not exist.
Right.
Unless which I do think is very like the cultural element of it, like unless that much of it really just is like almost like moral like advices instead of rules, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, unless this really just isn't that real to you at all, and you just don't want to think about what you vote for or what your money goes towards, or then I guess it kind of makes more sense, but that feels pretty hollow.
Yeah, I was gonna say the hollow is exactly the word I thought of, and it's still contrarian to the effort of, if your goal is to try to be, the most empathetic, then not being conscious of those decisions, I feel like in itself is antithetical to that position. And I do want to, go back to, like, we talked about, like, more recently, I feel like it's been more of the thing of like cutting people out of your life and whatever, but it's like, and I don't want to say like that's not, like that's not the way. It's like, I absolutely believe that, if in circumstances where like it makes sense, like, yeah, dude, like if it's not worth it, it's not worth it. But I also think it can be difficult for people to draw that line of where it is, because I feel like it's also different for every person. Like,
yeah, for me,
I
do think there's more downsides to torching shit than there are upsides. But I don't mind cutting people out. Like, I hadn't been there for 5 years for a reason, and I think kind of being willing to, I was like trying, and I feel like in family stuff, a lot of people don't see like the amount of effort it goes for some people to try to like deal with other people. And I easily feel like I'm willing to give it, maybe I'll try in another 5 years. That's pretty much where I'm at.
Yeah. And I definitely don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think there's, like I said, I feel like it kind of became a trend in the last, several years of like, just cut them out. And it's like, I get it. I'm not arguing against that by any means of like, if you got to make that decision for your health or for your mental health or for just the whatever, it's life's easier, then fucking do what you got to do. Blood is not thicker than water. You're fine. I think there's I think people that jump to that or feel like they should do not even that they jump to it, but they feel like they should do that and they have issues with it. And it's like, I don't know, like if it makes sense for you, go for it. If not, fucking therapy, I guess. But family's complicated. I don't know. I feel like I've heard that from coworkers and stuff, that it's just, it's hard to make that call when it's like you want to try to see this person through, or like you feel like they're still like they care about me, like they, but it's like it's hard to see them.
But they care about like a mirage of you, like what they. Yeah, I've never exactly, and I understand. Especially when people are reliant on their family more, which I definitely had been in the past. But I understand the difficulty cutting people out. I don't feel that way. I feel like it's really easy. It's almost harder for me to try to engage, but it still always feels sad.
Absolutely.
Not like sad I'm missing their presence, but like disappointing. This is how it is. Like I feel like if my siblings had kids, I can't imagine being that detached as I feel like my family is. Or I can't imagine not knowing people that I feel like I should be close to. Something I do feel like we could spend on. I had this question in my head because I was trying to figure out what is it exactly to know somebody. And I landed on the three things of what a person does, what a person feels, and what a person believes, whatever. What do you think, if we set it out of a bar to 100% understanding, do you feel like 100% is possible, or that there are limits? What's your...
100% understanding, how do you mean?
Like, do you feel like you could ever be 100% understood or 100% understand someone?
I think that maybe depends on the topic, but I feel like for the most part, yeah. I think 100% is rare, but I feel like that's attainable.
I don't. How confident are 1 to 100? How confident?
I'm pretty confident. I would say.
I have follow-up
I would say in the 90% confident of that, because I feel like I've, are you talking about like someone understands like everything? Like when I say anything at all, they understand exactly where I'm coming from every time, or like individual circumstances? Because I feel like individual circumstances, like I feel like I have that connection with some people in my life now. Yeah, like not every time, but like for the most part, I know that. So this was actually relationship advice that somebody gave me, and it wasn't even like we were talking about relationship advice. They were going through a little something with their partner, and they said something along the lines of like they know it was a misunderstanding, and they know it was a misunderstanding because they knew their partner's intentions, and I really liked the way they said that, because I think that really means a lot. Like we've discussed that at lengths on things of like the intent matters. It absolutely makes a difference. And if you know someone's intentions aren't to cause you harm or upset you, and they do something that they do or say causes you harm or upsets you, then it should be it just understood that either they didn't mean what they said, or what they said maybe came out differently than how they intended, or what they did was meant a different way. They didn't expect you to take that, but I think understanding someone's intention is the pathway to then being able to like make that call of like, hey, what did you mean when you said that? Or like, how did you like, what, you know,
let me push.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to scope in narrowly and broadly. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to take simultaneous timelines. Okay. First question, how many hours of this podcast have we done? We're at what?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
210.
And if we average about 2 hours an episode, that's like about 400 hours or so.
And realistically, it's probably like, I'd say like about half of the time we've talked to each other, right?
Yeah,
like over the course of time, right?
Yes,
Not anything prep. That's a lot of fucking hours, even over like 5-6 years, whatever. If somebody asked me, do you think you understand Ricky? I would say, of course. Like, yes. Now,
Yes.
if they asked, like, do you understand him broadly? Or do you understand his take or specific idea of something? I would, of course, say yes to broadly. And the specific thing I would think most like, if I was familiar, I'd probably be like, oh, yeah. But may not have the full scope, whatever. And I feel like that is like the nature of a relationship, like exploring these things. We put a lot of fucking time into like talking about ideas and shit and ourselves or whatever. If somebody asks me, do you 100% understand Ricky? This is timeline A, or the course A, and then course B. Do you fully understand how Ricky feels about issue X, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I could ever answer 100% to understanding you. And then on issue X, I think a lot of people are like, oh, that's Steven, that's right. I know he says this about this. So I definitely know what he thinks, whatever, whoever it is.
Yeah.
But then I feel like the only question you need to break that is, can you ever imagine this person answering or asking a question, saying something you didn't expect about a thing? And if you can possibly imagine, if I could possibly imagine, here's an example for you, talking about like pro-life, pro-choice stuff. There are times I've heard you answer questions in relation that I know your intent, and we probably almost certainly agree on the overall answer, but how you answered a thing may have been way more empathetic or like caring to the opposite side than I may have anticipated or expected. Like, I'm sure you can imagine me doing something similar to that, where it's like,
yeah,
oh, I know Steven feels this way, but he said that like he very much cares about, you know, something they're worried about or whatever.
Sure, yeah.
So like, I feel like that's both pathways are broken. I can't ever fully understand another person I've spent hundreds of hours talking to on a podcast about intimate ideas and things, and I can never fully understand you narrowly because you're always capable of saying something I wouldn't fully expect. And like,
I can see that.
Like you said, the intentions and all that matter a lot, but I don't feel like 100% understanding, except in like a delusional sense or state. Because I'm sure I've thought I both 100% understood and was understood plenty of times in the past. But I lean towards that being, both of those paths being fully broken, not possible.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with the like saying that you understand someone on a broad scale. I feel like if someone were to say like, you know them in and out, why they think this way, you know, what they're going to say next kind of shit. I definitely don't think that's possible. I definitely agree with you that that's not something that you can get. You can get close to it, sure, but 100%, I don't think that's possible.
Okay.
The
shifted perspective. I appreciate your willingness to change.
Well, I never I never disagreed with that to start with.
Didn't you say you thought somebody fully could be understood 100%?
On minute, like, individual context things, yes.
Okay, you said narrowly, but not broadly.
Yes.
Okay.
So narrowly, and I'll still stand by. I think you're right that if the qualifying thing is that if a thing or a person is able to adapt and evolve and have changes of values and opinions, then it's possible that you would not then understand that their point on something 100%. What I would argue is that you can have knowledge of someone's deep points of something if they're presented and articulated to you up until that point of change.
Fair. So is 100% possible? Narrowly?
I think 100% is possible. I just think it's very rare, which is exactly what I said to start with. I
might be able to agree to that, but I think the temporal nature, is a bit of
If someone said there's 101 ways to skin a cat, and you learn 101 ways to skin a cat, but then
I discovered 102 yesterday after we talked.
Then or someone else says, "Oh no, there's like 100 more," and you're like, "I didn't know that. How could I? How could I have not known this?
I've been killing cats since I was a kid. What the fuck?
You've been practicing for decades." So the idea of it's because it's a new or change of information. I would hope that when you have someone who you're super, if you have someone in your life that knows your position on something or knows your take on something 100%, I think when something does change, at least changes dramatically enough that it's like worth having a conversation about. I can see if someone said someone they hear a take of the reverse and are like, I guess I can see that. Like they kind of give to that side a little bit. It's like that's maybe a nothing burger. Maybe it's something. I don't know if that's even considered enough of a change to be like, oh, that's not how they feel anymore because the intent is still there.
That may well be true. But if both the person being understood and the person understanding rely on a temporal, that's time related. I'm not a tempura shrimp, not a deep fried shrimp version. If it's both people understood and understanding, there's the temporal nature. I almost feel like that alone is an acknowledgement that the connection or understanding between the people is more of a synapse than a bridge. Mm-hmm. No matter how microscopically close the synapses are, there's still a jump of the current. It's not a direct thing. We have to, at the very least, cross our intersections of time to be understood.
Can I tell you, Stephen? I think this is 200 or so episodes in now, and 1 million listens, and we've done it again. This is just a difference of glass half full, glass half empty.
Maybe
it's a difference of our perspectives.
I'm coming in for the strike, bro.
Oh, I'm sorry. Continue. Let me get out of your way.
I would say at the very least that synaptic jump of temporal understanding is at the very least worthy of 1%. You think you could be 100%? I think 99 at best.
I might barter 0.5%.
99.5. Okay, either way, your argument has been broken. Shattered
It's been broken and shattered.
So if you're conceding 99.5% understanding is best possible outcome, how often do you think you're hitting 99.5? I would argue most senses of understandings of others is far, far lower than we think. And I have a demonstration.
He's prepared this PowerPoint for
class. I need everyone in the class to stand up. We have a demonstration.
Turn to page 17.
Oh my
Let's get started.
All right. Let's see if this pushes. So, all right. I know your friend does not like my friend, Sam Harris, okay? But we're talking moral, and I think I might know why, but I don't give a fuck. Who cares? Moral landscape. We're talking, let's just do, imagine a landscape, okay?
Okay.
This landscape is the course of our lives, okay? It stretches near infinitely, okay? Now,
just like our lives.
Yes. Somewhere in my landscape is a Ricky, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you were to ask me, or someone else asked me, like, how well do you understand this person? I feel like the true answer is, like, you're basing it off mirages of them in your landscape. So, like a person you saw once, they're like a fuzzy little mirage in the distant landscape. You've seen a little bit, you know that much about them. And I feel like family, extended family, you see every 5 years or whatever, they have like a handful of distant mirages of you scattered. Right? Yeah. I always fuck it up. It's not parallax. You know what parallax? Yeah.
Yes. Two things existing in the same.
Well, like parallax in art or in like video games is when the perspective tilts and things like line up or disline up, like how a camera can look like it's moving fast or an angle. When things turn and line up or the distance changes, whatever. It's like almost an illusion. I feel like
got it. Yep, I was wrong. I'm thinking of a different word.
The more mirages of a person that you can like tilt, shift, parallax to try to line up to get the most accurate picture. So like the more impressions of a person, the more you know their intentions, their thoughts, or things they did, said, believe, whatever, the more accurately you can try to line up that image of a person, right? Is that track?
Sure. Yeah.
But if both parties, if the landscape is changing with time and the rocks move and clouds shift, whatever, I feel like even at best, like you, someone I've spent a relatively vast amount of time talking to, I feel like I can line up all of my thoughts of you, all the things I recall you saying or saw you do. I can line up a lot of things to get a relatively good picture, relatively good understanding. But I still feel like I feel like it would be arrogant of me to assume anything over 90%. That I could think like, no matter what's happening internally with Ricky or like how this thing, I don't think I could ever like confidently say, I understand you above 90%. I feel like 9 out of 10 times, if I nailed what I thought you were going to say or do, I feel like that's like pretty incredible.
Now, let me throw this out there because I feel like now it's my time to be on the strike here.
Time to shine, baby.
I feel like those kind of assumptions about like how could I know this about this, or how could I know confidently say that I know this much about this person? Or how can I feel like sometimes that's projection of I would assume that you feel that way about other people feeling like they know you. Like they're
What do you mean?
maybe
Sorry.
only, like maybe I'm assuming based on that comment that maybe you think that the people who are closest to you maybe only know you confidently about 90%.
I would argue it's probably much, much lower, but yeah.
That's fair. So because I would say out of the box, I know that I'm definitely a much more open person. I'm not afraid to trauma dump.
And you're stable.
I have on you. I have on you multiple times.
You're a stable picture, though. Like, you're very consistent with who you are, which is a lot easier to judge than an erratic person. Yeah.
Right. But for that reason, like, I think definitely at this point, I don't think there's, there might be things that you're not 100% sure how I feel about, like, my opinions on, Mexican food or something. Like, I don't know, like, it's, small shit, but I feel like for the most part, you get me. I would say you definitely.
I think I could
almost
hit 51%. Like, but if let's say this is a goofy example, but I feel like it holds. Sorry, these fucking warheads, dude. Holy shit.
Oh man, are you still eating them?
I can't help myself. It's candy.
I'm not hearing the chomping.
I'm offering a lot of self-restraint.
we're losing that ASMR.
If someone asked me, do I know you more than I don't? I can agree to 51%. Like, pretty confidently. I think I can hit 51%. 99, I feel like, is insane. But let's say, for example, goofy example, someone says, hey, here's 100 bands. Here's 100 pieces of art. How well do you understand Ricky? Go through this list. Tell me which ones he thumbs up or thumbs down. Do you think I understand you well enough to know how you feel about things that well?
Oh boy, I think that's a good podcast.
It'd be fun. I feel like I could get a higher, maybe guess than most other people or like most strangers or something. But there's no way I'm getting above 60%. Like you would have all kinds of takes. I
that's probably true. And I would still say I would probably grant you about 95%.
You think I'd hit 95% accurate on 100 pieces of art?
Not on that, just in general. I think in a general sense.
You think I know you 95%?
You said 90 earlier. You said you wouldn't want to go over 90. I would give you 95.
That's high confident, and I don't mean it disparagingly at all. Like,
no, I mean it in the way of like, I don't. I mean, I know for a fact that you listen to these podcasts twice at least.
Yeah.
So, once while doing it and at least once while editing it. So I know that you have that in your back pocket, but also because of conversations we've had, I definitely don't think there's anything that's been like, I'm not, like I said, I'm an open book. I'm not keeping any, reservoir shit. I don't have like a dark history or a past. I'm not a fucked up individual. Like, you don't have anything that's like I don't know, like, oh, you wouldn't get me because of this. Like, I definitely feel like there's something that like I'll never understand about the way your brain works because of your time doing, with your struggles with addiction and stuff like that, where like I don't have that experience, so I don't know.
I feel like you do more than you think, but also I understand what you mean. But even that, like, I feel like what I'm saying could be, all right, so we could dissect this more, or we could jump to conclusion and see if this shifts at all. So you said 99.5 is maximum possible, and then I knocked you down to 95%. Okay. which I think is still way too high.
95%, I mean specifically for you.
What do you mean?
For like, I said 99% is the most possible.
Okay.
95%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 99.5. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for granting me that. 95% is what I would say how much I think you know me in particular.
Now I feel rude. Like, if I had to guess you, I would think much, much lower. And this is like the conclusion I was getting.
Here's a surprise, Steven. I'm not that deep.
No, I don't think that's what it is. I feel like it is hard to know another. I feel like it is harder than we think it is, or harder than I've thought it was previously. Not related to that. The Christmas stuff is a fun point to like jump to this, but I felt this for a long, long time. Like, I think, and I think it can be both like a good thing and a bad thing. And I'm not like, oh, we don't know each other, we're just truly alone, blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah.
I mean it as the, I think to fully know another is a near insurmountable feat. And that we are rarely ever that close to it. And to get anywhere approaching close to it, or even above 51%, is like pretty amazing. And like a cool, should be celebrated thing. But that there's also a way bigger percentage than most of us are aware of most of the time of unknownness between each other. And that thinking about people I'm close to, whether it's like you, John, like people, I think there's a lot more misunderstanding than both parties realize. And that
I can see that.
Life ultimately is very solitary. And not that, and part of that should be like to fight that, right? Like, you want as much understanding with another as possible. But I don't think this is like ill delusional, but I feel ultimately alone. And that the parts that I can feel understanding with others are like very special, because I don't think it's always that way, or that it can fully be that way. We can't like symbiotically get through life. Is this tracking? What do you think?
I definitely agree that it is difficult to it's difficult to learn people in a deep connection way. Like, it's not, I would say it's not that it's difficult. It's not easy.
Nearly impossible. Or impossible to get past 99.5.
I feel like it's not maybe as difficult as I feel like you're making it seem, to understand a person to a point that is meaningful.
I don't disagree with that. There's strangers I'll never see again, I felt like a relatively deep connection with. Yeah. But I'd say for it to be near 50% is incredible on a chance encounter. But the disparity between 50 and 99.5 is a massive canyon.
I feel like the main mount, or the main obstacle to climb over is the, spending time and, asking questions, having conversation. And like, that's, you only have a finite amount of time.
And most people don't do it. That combination is like near insurmountable.
And I definitely don't think I definitely wouldn't agree that most people can understand a lot of people. But I think if the interest is there, it's not that it's difficult, it's just takes time.
But people don't, like you said, people don't have the time. Like, I feel like I can understand a lot of people to a relatively high degree, and it's still going to be a low percentage of overall. But I feel like the amount of people that understand a large percent of me is going to be very small.
Yeah, sure.
But sorry, I don't know where the disagreement. I lost the disagreement. I lost the golden snitch.
My point is only stating that it's. I think you are trying to say how difficult it is to really understand someone, and you know, sure, maybe it's not going to be 100% most of the time. Period. Maybe, you know, maybe that 99.5 you only get once in your life. Maybe, you know, but if it's a meaningful enough, like, to have a solid and deep foundational relationship with a person at, you know, 60, you know,
60%. That I would tend to agree. I think right at 51% is when you have enough to build that, like, deep connection with.
Yeah, and I think that's very fair. And I think the meaning of that relationship, the meaning of that understanding, the intention, if you will, does a lot of weight carrying in the how do I want to phrase this, the meaningness of the relationship, like the do you need to know that last 40%? Do you need to have that? It's like, is it necessary even?
I was going to make that argument. I feel like these Christians, right? These Christo-fascists, they think they love someone that they have a 5% understanding of, right? Mm-hmm. And I think there's an argument that can be made. Like, you can have a relationship with someone, or care, love, whatever, with someone you don't understand at all. But I feel like I'm trying to frame this of like, well, if maybe we're not even hitting the 50%, I don't really know how it might be that might be the mark of delusion to me, to not understand someone 50% and to feel love for them. I don't know if that can be valid or not. And to take it once,
you could have the feeling of like an obligatory.
Well, they're loving they're loving inaccurate mirages.
Yeah.
Their picture isn't clear enough. So, like, to put it in perspective, let's see if this pushes you at all. I like arguing. Everything should be framed as an argument. You're 30-something years old, right? We're both getting white hairs now, which is crazy.
Yeah.
How many people do you think understand you, but you're willing to rank higher? How many people do you think are over 80%? It's probably pretty low.
I mean, I would say like 6.
Okay, so that's a handful of people over 30 years. So based on that trajectory, what's the odds of before dying that you have 3 people above 95%? This sounds like a cruel question. It's not.
No. I get what you're asking. And honestly, I feel like I'm going to say I feel like I have that already.
Well, like you might,
if not 95%, pretty close to it.
Yeah, you might genuinely feel that way, and you could be right. I don't. I feel like if Sarah heard this, I wouldn't mind. Me and her could talk like that. I feel like if by the time we died in each other's arms, because we love each other, I feel like if we died and it was above 66% understanding of each other, I would feel like that's pretty incredible. Like, I would feel like proud of that amount to, like, 2/3 of the time understand how she feels or what she thinks, or that 2/3 of the time she could understand what I felt or thought, I would feel like that's like a special thing. Like I just think 90%.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I feel like 90 is like delusional, like not realistic. And this isn't like a attack of like our relationships. It's like I think we are much more alone than we realize, and that the closeness we feel with others is like very special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess I'm trying to consider, like, am I being too optimistic in that? But I guess I really don't think that I am. I think that
you might be right. I mean, because I can see you being very close to those people. But
you know, there's people that I see and have seen every day for, you know, several years now that one of them in particular, my best friend up here, we communicate with each other sometimes, you know, can you go do the thing over there? And like, they know what we're talking, like we both say shit like that to each other sometimes. And we know exactly what the other person's talking about. Yeah. Some of it's based on context, absolutely. But sometimes it's also just like it's like I don't know, like
mind link.
Yeah. There's like a little gut feeling about it. It's like, all right, I think I know what they're getting at here. Or there's some of that. There's definitely, I'm going to keep going back to it, but like the fact that I know that some of these people know my intentions and they know them well enough that even if they may not know my exact feelings on an individual, topic, they don't listen to the podcast enough, which, that's their own fault.
I want to circle back to that, actually.
Then I feel like that they at least, when given the options of like, would they do this or would they do that? Like they would probably know where my trolley cart problem answers lie, or at least be able to give a reason why they felt that, even if like, I think there's something too of like, you're wrong about someone's opinion of like what they would answer, but the justification of why you thought that they would feel that way is valid. Yeah, it's a valid reason based on, what they would have said, so.
I don't know what the point of this line of questioning is yet, but we'll see.
Okay.
Do you feel like I'm difficult to understand? Generally, I guess, not narrowly.
I think knowing you outside of the podcast, I've told you this before. I'm not sure if it was on recording or the last time we recorded or not. But I genuinely think that you're maybe not a super different person outside of the podcast, but I think you definitely bring a different energy.
I'm just more reserved.
You're definitely a lot. The words of my niece here, very kind.
I actually want to dig into that too. I'm glad you brought that. Go ahead. Yeah.
And it struck me because I also feel that way. I think you're, very considerate and kind person, and I understand that I'm in maybe a more special position of being a friend who cares to understand more about you. So I may be granted those privileges, but I feel like
you got perms in the Discord.
I would feel like you also extend that to people that you don't know, even without knowing them. I honestly probably to people you don't know more even than people that you do know but dislike. And I think that's, I think that's generally a good thing. I feel like I understand that. I feel like I don't think you're difficult to understand. I feel like you're a complex individual.
I definitely feel like you understand me like far more than like near everyone, like very top tier understanding. The part I find slightly confusing, A, and then B, I thought you and your niece's comment was interesting. A is that I feel like I should be very easy to understand because regardless podcast or not, I feel like I'm willing to be very forthright and open in either setting. And I know like you see that or whatever, but I feel like in my personal life, most people just really aren't that curious. Where like whether it's a fucking AA meeting with strangers or like at the bus stop or like at family dinner, I'm pretty much willing to say like anything. I don't give a shit. So I feel like to anyone who's curious, I should be very easy to understand. At least to the 51%, right? The higher amounts, I'll grant, could be more complicated, confusing, whatever. Or I'm a fucking idiot, dumb, make it hard. But I feel like the base level is like pretty easy to understand from my point of view. And then the comment of like, I think was kind of leaning in towards our previous off podcast discussion is I'm probably like nicer in person, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Here,
I definitely see where it's like there's more of a social norm
like
to
chillness.
it. Yeah, it's your social setting with people that you maybe don't know as well, and like you're gonna
because
extend.
I like a show to be like I don't want the show to be like normal norms. Yeah, it'd be boring as
just
shit.
two best buddies just having a regular conversation.
Yeah, but
flashback to the last week's episode, 2 weeks ago.
but yes, let's follow that flashback. Okay, we're on the landscape. We're flashing back to whatever week ago that was, meowing.
That's magic,
mega magic. We're meowing political candidates. Do you think, like outside of like when I say like crucify Christians, there's like an element outside of every major city. There's like element of like playfulness, but I feel like maybe you understand. But regardless of podcast or not, like I'm willing to Thanos snap half the population.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's the part I don't fully. I don't even know if it matters. But that's the part, like, I don't see much difference in the sense, like, I'm willing to tell that to anyone who's curious. Where I feel like the understanding should be pretty easy of, like, this is genuinely what I think, because I'm willing to say it.
I think I think it's one thing to say something like that, but it's a different thing to understand them, like the why. And it's like it's much easier to say this is what I think versus this is why I think this way. And
well, I have
that's
a
not
document.
even just to get them. I think there's definitely there's a bit in understanding where it's not about agreeing with the argument or the justification of it so much, or like completely being on that side, where there has to be some kind of a shared common ground of understanding before something that maybe to some people is going to be a really radical. Yeah, it could be like a really radical idea shift. That's like, no, that's really bad. And then being like, well, here's why I think it's not bad. There's going to be some convincing to be done before they're able to understand that thought process to start with.
Well, this may be, I don't know if we'd have a disagreement here, but this may be a diversion from This may be a difference of like what we think understanding can be. Or it may not be. I don't fucking know what I'm saying anymore. Mm-hmm. I feel like I can understand someone I don't understand. Like, I can understand why a Nazi feels the way a Nazi does. I can understand why a Christian fascist fuck feels the way they do. I can understand why Mega thinks the way they do, or why the
Right.
Jewish conspiracy person. Like, I don't feel like it takes fully accepting as truth
Right.
a point of view to understand.
Yeah, and I definitely don't want to be that, want that the position
I know
to
you're
be
not.
said. That's not what I meant.
Well, I know that's not what you meant, but I feel like Yeah, go ahead.
Can I elaborate a little bit?
Yeah,
Because I feel like there is it's quantifiably different to say that, like, if you have a conversation with someone, you tell them, I think all religion should be snuffed out and over
violently,
and or even we can even microcosm it. We can say, like, oh, I think all Christians should be crucified.
Yeah, and
someone can hear that, and they're going to hear, they might hear some other, the extremist of some other type of, like, a different religion or whatever, saying the same thing.
They hear their own
same
brain
sentiment
clicking off, basically.
But it's different. It's like the why is very different. And I think that's the part of the understanding of, like, okay, they want this, but the reasoning is so different. Coming to understand why you feel this way, why you think this way, is so different than the reason they think, this extremist or whatever also thinks this way. And I think that's such a crucial bit of information, because otherwise you're one and the same, and that couldn't be further from truth.
Let me refocus, because I feel like I lost the snitch again. I feel like I started turning into why, like, I feel like people don't understand me, but I don't know if we're still on the thread of, like, why I think you think people can be more understood than I think they can be understood.
Oh no, I think at this point I'm saying that I think I'm just talking about understanding in general.
Okay.
I'm laying the common ground.
Lay the tracks. Where's the train going, though?
The train is going to, I think the problem is in conversation. That is, understanding requires give and take. It requires a decent amount of give, where you are, like I said, to reach the common ground in which someone else feels, you could make the argument of, like, I think all Christians should be crucified. And it's like, okay, but why do you think that way? I think that's wrong because violence and yada, yada, yada. And you have to lay the groundwork then of explaining to them, this is why it's not bad. These are the reasons, like, understand my perspective on this, understand why, I see all the countless evils that the church has done. I can describe to you all of the reasons why it's counterproductive to society and hypocritic, or not hypocritic. What's the word I'm looking for? Hypocritical. Thank you. See, you knew exactly what I was thinking.
99%.
99 percentile, buddy.
I actually just wrote my religion is bad MK manifesto.
Okay.
Redditor tip of the fedora speech.
I think there's something there where you have to, if someone else is, spewing to you all of the autism's or autism is caused by vaccines thing, that if you want to understand where they're coming from, you need to then realize, spend the time, either, whether they know the sources or not, you got to find the sources of, like, where they're getting this information from.
But that's easy.
Like, how come they're right? Yeah, because exactly, and you've done that. You've taken that time to do that research.
Yeah, and
that's why you understand the way that these people think, and that's why it's also okay to rag on them, because you've done the research. You've done your give. You've given.
Yeah.
And now it's time for them to take.
Yeah, which I feel like we're going down a funnel of like why I feel misunderstood, but I feel like the funnel, which I'm curious about, but I feel like the funnel I want to go down is that we're all more difficult to understand than we think. That I feel like the 90% mark should be, like you said, maybe once in a lifetime.
Yeah, sure.
We're like,
I don't disagree with that statement too. Of like, I think more people are more misunderstood than they believe themselves to be, and I think again that kind of just comes down to the the communication aspect of it. I think there are people that don't understand themselves maybe as well as they think they do.
I definitely agree with that. I have two train tracks we can play with. The first of which is there's a lot of people around me that probably think they understand me more than they do, and simultaneously have no interest in listening to the podcast. Right?
Sure.
Which is totally fine. No hard feelings. But I do think it's a bit of a benchmark of understanding, in the sense that I know anyone I'm close to, if they were willing to like talk about what they think for X hours a month, I would be curious to hear it.
Sure. Yeah.
And I feel like to not have that, it's not like a disrespectful thing. It's like people aren't always interested in everything other people are interested in, right? But I feel like it is a pretty big marker of like, well, then we're not interested in the same things. And if part of those things are like talking about what we think and believe, then we're probably not interested in a lot of the same things.
Yeah, I think that's mostly true. I will say, for the people that the aforementioned people that I said like don't listen to my podcast, it's like there is, they also get me 40 hours a week. And they ask about the podcast, and I still discuss with them the things that we discussed on the podcast.
Sure.
So they get a summarized view. And I will say that most of them have at least listened to some of it. I definitely know they don't listen to it all the time, which honestly I'm cool with. I'm 100% fine with that.
But someone I expected to have a 90% understanding of, if they told me they put this much of their thoughts out and I was not interested in listening, I feel like the amount I understand is far lower. Or like, from my point of view, I want them to be putting their thoughts out. And I would feel like, from their perspective, if I wasn't interested in listening to it, I feel like it's very obvious I'm not that interested in what they think or believe. Which I feel like is valid, and not like shitty or disrespectful, but I feel like it is a pretty good marker of like knowing where we're at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I can give you that.
I feel like it sounds shitty because it's like the artist, like, oh, you don't like my art vibe.
No,
I think it's something else. It's like if my sister put out I don't want it to be about, because I don't mean it that way. If a close friend or my girlfriend did a podcast, I would, even if I think the show sucks, even if I'm like, you're not good at this, but I would still be curious to know. She would never. I've tried to get her on so many times. She's like, no, but it would be very funny. It'd be a funny episode.
I think it really would. I would. I would.
She'd be good.
That'd be great. Yeah.
But if she did a show and I was like not interested in knowing, I feel it says something.
I feel like there's also the thing of like, even if people I know are doing a podcast thing that, if the discussion is about something that I just don't have an interest in, it's not that I wouldn't,
but that says
ever listen,
something
but
too.
I not sharing interest doesn't mean that you don't understand someone, though.
I think it does to an extent. Maybe not like an irreconcilable difference, but that if I have a friend that's crazy into Hot Wheels or furries, and I'm like, yo, I respect your grind, dude, but I have no interest in hearing you explore those things. We could say, oh, we understand each other generally, but apparently not narrowly, or else I would be interested in that too. So it doesn't mean there can't be close. It might not be, the percentage might be above 50, but it might not be able to pass the threshold. At least
if it's something that that is
passionate about,
they're passionate about, then I guess
there's a canyon in the landscape. No mirages in that canyon.
And in that way, then you're not gonna ever bridge that gap into the 99 percentile with them.
Correct.
But, and that's fair. That's just people.
I agree, and that I think that the question comes to like, then what do we expect of each other? And I feel like my expectations, I feel like it probably doesn't sound this way, but I feel like my expectations are pretty low, and I do think like above a certain percentile is really special. But like when I think of, we'll switch to example mode. When I think of like people in my life, I don't want to name anyone, but people are like, it's like sobriety shit or some other like thing they're struggling with, and they like over credit like, hey, you really helped me with this, and they like attribute a person helping them through a thing. I've, as much as I've found that to be a compliment before, I feel like I don't ever really want to hear that. And I always try to like remind the person like, hey, other people helped me too. And what you did is fully your responsibility. Like you get to take that alone. Like people can say all the right things to you and maybe some of them help. But every night when you were throwing up or like shitting your pants or whatever, like no one was there, bro. Like you went through that shit alone. It's all you. Like you're your own god and man. Like I feel like there's the thing of like whether one side feels it, whether the feeling is overrepresented, right? Like the feeling of being understood or understanding what they think it might be higher than it is, but at the end, it's still all us. Where I think of like you, someone I feel like it's a high percent understanding built over what it's got to be. We've known each other 15 years, right? Which is crazy.
More than that.
That's crazy.
Closer to like 17, 18.
That's crazy, right? Like,
yeah.
But I would still feel like if I had to go through a thing or things I have gone through or will go through, still like as much help as possible, it's still me going through it, and vice versa. As much understanding as we can build, and I feel like our conversations do that quite a bit, and more than most conversations with most people. It's never can hop the synapse.
Yeah, I think you're right,
and
I'll concede.
And I feel like as negative as that sounds, I feel like maybe my temperament is that I do kind of truly feel it negative, and I do feel pretty alone generally. But when I'm like thinking clearly or can give things the care they deserve, I feel like my true thought is like, as disappointing as it is not to have higher understandings with more people, is that the people I do have at least relatively high understandings with is like very meaningful. And I feel like for me, it's easy to feel like those below 90% understanding, it's like really easy for me to feel like that's super disappointing. And I feel like I kind of have to like fight that feeling off a lot. But when I'm like most clear, I feel like that's like a really cool, special thing.
I think I agree with that. I think there's, like you said earlier, your expectation is low, and I agree with that. I feel like the expectation on my end is low of like, I'm grateful for the amount of people that I have in my life that I feel really close with. And that I feel like I can trust, and, and I know that I can call on if I need something, or, I feel like understand my perspective, and to a degree that they, I feel like they know me pretty well. But I definitely don't take that for granted, and I definitely don't expect that from other people. Or at least I try not to. And I think the idea of there being a gap that some people will, that no one will ever be able to cross, if anything, I feel like that's a beautiful thing. I think that's definitely
I agree with that.
That's something that's uniquely for you. That's kind of your.
It's tragic. It's our inner voice.
It's I think there's a little tragic to it, but I think there's something romantic to it too. I mean, like they go hand in hand. I think that's something that's just an experience that only you are capable of, and I think that's cool. I think that's a key maybe to understanding other people, that they also have that you'll never attain, but if you're interested enough, you can try
and get closer to it.
Yeah. And help them to get as close to you, as comfortable. Because I also feel like that could be another thing of like, you just may not want that, or maybe there's, various different reasons why someone could not want someone to, know them better than a 75%, but
yeah.
I think that's fair.
Sorry.
I think that also just takes more of, understanding yourself about things, which again, I know for a fact that there's a lot of people that just don't. I mean, I think I'm a great example of like, I don't know half the shit that we talk about before we talk about it. Like, I'm not considering my opinion on this, niche topic until you bring it up, and then we talk about it. And then I'm like, I kind of form my opinion based on, how we work through things. And sometimes I do more research afterwards. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable in how I feel about that, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that people have that with a lot of things, whether it's because they just didn't have an opportunity to, discuss it or think through it, or, like you might have heard about like how this is, how something's a problem, but like, it's not affecting you. You still have to, you still got to get on the bus tomorrow. Yeah. So it's like, I get that.
Dude, I'm having, we already had flashbacks. I'm having future backs. What is a better word? Flash forwards. Bro, conversations like this, I always feel like, it's actually like very meaningful in the moment. And then they're the ones that when I listen to recorded, I sometimes hate the most, where I'm like, oh my God. Like at myself.
Are we waxing too poetic?
Yeah, but I feel like, I don't know, it's meaningful. The question that made me flash forward was, do you feel like, this is like super honesty hour, okay. Do you feel like your natural understanding expectation is the same as like your learned expectation?
How do you mean?
Like, do you really feel like your standard of understanding your expectations of understanding and being understood is that low, or do you feel like it has changed by experience? Because I think I struggle with that.
That's a good question. I feel like I've always kind of had a low expectation.
You do kind of have that vibe.
I think there was definitely a point. There was definitely a point growing up where I hit the point of realizing like, oh, no one's really paying attention to the shit that you're doing. And it's like, yeah, of course, like you're, the people who are really closest to you, sure. Like, but for the most part, like
the world isn't always watching.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's, a lot of social anxiety stuff is like people realizing that, or people having like, oh, I can't do this and I can't wear this in public, or I don't want to be, walk around with, like, oh, I had toilet paper stuck to my shoe for the last half an hour, and it's like no one said anything. It's like no one probably noticed.
Everybody made fun of you. Everybody made fun of you. No one gives a shit. That's the real answer.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't matter. They're never going to see you again. It's fine. And if they do, and if they see you again and they recognize you out in the wild, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But the idea of the disconnection, I kind of that's helped me a lot in my social anxiety issues that I had up until a few years ago. I still have issues with it, but it's not as bad. But that was like, I don't know, that was pretty massive of like, fucking people aren't really paying attention. Everyone has their own shit to do. They all have their own thing going on. So even if you do like meet someone new, like the expectations are extremely low. If you meet someone with high expectations of like hey, I met you and we need to be friends like now, like we need to know all the things about each other now. And it's like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, we can take time on that. Maybe that builds to that. And maybe I want to learn those things about you eventually, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like building to that is a more foundationally healthy thing. And, we've all been in love before, and like, you meet someone and you're like, wow, I'm really, I want to learn more about this person, and I want to spend more time with this person, and I want to do this. And it can lead you to jump, into that a little bit more, but that's interest. Fast. Yeah. I mean, that's just how interest works. It's just, or that's how interest leads itself, or lends itself to this discussion of like, if you're really interested in something, you want to learn more about it. You kind of hyperfixate a little bit sometimes. And like, that's how you understand things. And I think that's just a catalyst for speeding up the process. But for the most part, I don't expect people to know me more than just a base level of like, they know me for that I work at, the smoothie place, or they know me for, taking cats to the stray cats to the vet or something, or, some goofy shit like that. It's like, there's different facets of things that people might know you from, but I don't expect them to know anything else about me beyond that.
Yeah.
And that's just, I'm super cool with it.
I feel like anything but cool with it. Like, I feel like, I think this is probably a me problem more, but I feel like my natural expectations are infinite. Like for anyone like over the 51% threshold of I expect like way, way more. Like in friendships, relationships, I expect to be understood more generally, and I expect like a far higher percentage from people I'm close to, and I think I expect more of the world in general. And I said earlier, like, my expectations are low, and I think that is true, but that's like my learned expectation. Like my natural wants, just like my shitty idealist manifest. Like I truly am very idealist by nature, and I feel like I'm not by experience in a sense where like I don't think I overly hold people to like how I feel, but I really am often at conflict with how I feel and what I actually try to expect of people. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It does.
Yeah. Like I don't understand I don't understand why so many people are like content not knowing or not feeling that close, or I don't really know what the point of, and I think that's part of the reason I feel the solitariness of it, because it's like we're all just going to work, living our own dumb lives, and like you said, the world's often not watching. And I feel, as someone who I think naturally does feel, I feel like my expectation, while compared to a lot of people might naturally seem very high, I just don't know why for other people wouldn't be like way, way higher.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like there's a lot of like toiling on this earth of insincerity or like purposeless action that it seems like, I don't know, just such a loss.
You know, I think at least from my hearing that, it feels like it is just a perspective thing, right? It's just like if you consider on a grand scheme of thing, there's, was it like 8.5 billion people on the planet or whatever. So like if by comparison, yeah, we are kind of on our own. Like even if there are like 3 people that you're, at 99.5%, drift compatible with, then it's not like that's a drop in the bucket. That's nothing. But like by comparison of perspective, if it's just like I really, I don't know what it is. I love my solitude. I love my alone time. Like I
like a lot of that. I like a lot of that stuff too, and I think we might be slightly outside of the norm. You even more than me with that. But the idea of like I don't like most socialist stuff. I don't like the idea of co-ops and stuff. Like I think it's cool for people who want it, and I fully support people doing it. And I think it's awesome in a like corrupt, fucked capitalist system that people still can do co-ops and like cool stuff like that. Even if it's not my deal, I think it's awesome. Like truly.
Yeah.
But sure. The idea to me that, the part of the reason I'm not drawn to it, I think, is because these type of systems, like inter-cooperating, like humans building shit together or being able to like call our community needs to build this garden to get food to these, like, to me, it's preposterous. It's preposterous that these things aren't easy to do. That it's not easy to like change things or get people to cooperate.
Oh yeah, sure.
Like, but by nature, it is difficult, right?
Right.
And I think like I've adjusted expectations accordingly. But to me, that's like it's like a crazy world where, like you said, over the course of your life, you have this handful of closely understood and understanding people. And the rest of the people are neutral or negative or maybe slightly positive, but you're never going to get that close to truly know.
Right, exactly.
And you're in like a world where you're like a competing insect to carve out the resources to live comfortably. And that is like a deeply disappointing like loss of potential in my mind.
That's fair.
And I'm not in denial. Like I'm cut out for it. Fuck it, dude. I'm cockroach mode. I'll make it.
Yeah.
But
I want to put this out there. I mean this extremely sincerely, that I I find myself surprised when I find myself in new environments where I'm meeting new people.
Yeah.
That how much I have in common with like opinions and, worldviews and stuff. It is nice when you meet people like that, but I think that might be part of our problem is that we're not outside very often. So we're not meeting new people often.
I disagree.
We're not.
I played Arc Raiders today with us. With a soldier stationed in Colorado, okay? And we completed 3 missions together successfully. And I never once called him a fascist that I truly believe him to be, okay? I can get along. I can get along just fine. I can agree with lots of things.
I'm not saying you can't get along and you can't agree. I'm saying that the reason that we feel so disconnected from people and we feel like there's a loss of potential of like, oh man, maybe there's so many people that like will never understand. And it's because that we lock ourselves inside and we don't leave the house except for maybe to go to work or go to the corner store to get Monster Energy drinks.
I'm gonna push you on that. Do you feel like Do you feel like that is a genuine thought, or do you feel like you're a little contrarian there? Honest question.
I think it's a little column A, a little column B. I think there's definitely probably some truth to it that, if we, I mean, true. I'm not saying like just going out to the store, you're going to meet people and like learn people, but like putting yourself in a position where like, like I did not too long ago, where I was invited to play games with somebody that I only kind of vaguely knew from work. Ended up meeting like most of their friend group, and was like, I was worried on the way over of like, I don't know who these people are, and I don't know how many people are going to be there, and I'm not sure.
They might rape me.
I don't know maybe I'm a little more extremist than they are, and like I don't want to bring up politics and shit on the first meeting with someone. I don't want to get into it, and if we do, then that's just how it goes. But then meeting them and realizing like, oh, they're all pretty much on the same level. I feel like, or at least close to it enough that's like there's not a weirdness here. But it was like there was like a camaraderie in that I hadn't expected, of like, oh, I'm meeting a bunch of new people at once and their views aren't that different than mine.
See, I do not
I feel like I can say things. I feel like I can say things that I feel, and they're going to at least understand the context, if not the full, like where I'm coming from with this.
I do not.
Not to say they understand. Oh, well, I don't know. You need better friends. I don't know. Or you need better new people to meet.
I don't think so. I think there's the.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It's great.
There's the. What is the quote? The something of small differences. It's like the big differences of small. That's not the word. There's a fancy word. It's the. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
It's like the discrepancy of small differences. It's often
the minutia.
No, but it's something like that, where like in politics, like people infight a lot because they largely agree on a lot, but the small difference is very meaningful, right?
Gotcha.
You'll find it. Like when I look at the sea of Democrat protests with all the dumbass signs, where like, yeah, I probably do agree on 70% of things maybe, but that 30% means a lot, where like, it's not just small differences. I can agree with my family on a lot of things, but maybe it's only a couple things. They mean a lot to me. Like there are most of my life prior to this job and stuff, like I was like very much out and about, driving all fucking day, doing little things, meeting people, going places, working on people's yard. If anything, I felt way more at odds in an anti-world then. And I do acknowledge like there definitely are like benefits. Like you do find more people, you have a higher understanding than you don't find not getting out, right?
Sure, yeah.
But to me, a lot of those what people think to be small differences really matter a lot, or at least they matter a lot to me, where I'm still willing to like do what's strategically best or enjoy the good company. I'm not willing to like shut off my Xbox and not pass my Arc Raiders mission because the dude's a fucking loser soldier, or I'm not willing to
get that Chivo.
yeah, dude, or I'm not willing to not sell weed to the guy for being MAGA, right? Like, I'm gonna cooperate and make shit work, but a lot of the quote unquote small differences I think are bigger than people want to acknowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Where I don't feel like I'm losing out on perspective because I haven't been out lately. Let me put that rumor to bed right away.
let me maybe say what I was saying a little differently.
Sure.
I feel like it's easy to feel like you are like most of the people around you, or at least most of the people on the planet don't have the same feelings that you do. Or
I got 33 years of evidence. How old am I?
And I'm not saying that it's not true that most of the people don't, but I feel like it's easier to meet people that share at least a common trend of a thought with you.
I've never had that happen. Let me ask you,
you've never met someone that felt anywhere near anything that you
never once. I'll explain.
I've never met someone I agree with, not once.
Never once. First off, how old am I? You know I don't.
Are you 34 yet?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Because you're 34, right?
Yeah.
Then I'm 34 too.
I couldn't remember if you actually were a couple months
92?
Younger, a couple months older. No, 91. So you're 33.
Okay. If you say so. I have 33 years of evidence. Okay. The miscalculation it would have to take to be wrong, I think would be pretty substantial. Like, there are times I've met groups of like-minded individuals where it is like, we might be over the 50%, and I can value that connection. But the high percentage is still very rare.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that it's going to be. Here's what I'm saying: you can't win the lottery if you don't buy a fucking ticket.
I wouldn't disagree. That's fair. But
I'm not saying you're gonna win, but I'm saying that you don't stand a chance to.
But what is the goal
people,
here? What is the goal?
But the goal is me trying to convince you that yes, it's possible to meet people who agree with you, and there's probably more of them than you might give credit to. But because we don't meet them, we'll never know.
I don't think I agree. I think there are them out there, but both of our lives are evidence that it is in fact that small. It is hard to have the high percentage of understanding. I think it's harder, than you initially thought at the start of this conversation, A. And B, if I put both of our lives' evidence together and I X factor calculate everyone I know, how many people are everyone you know close to? It's always a very small amount. Almost always. There are some people that are close to a lot of people. They're pretty exceptional. Most people, it's a small amount. And if I look at both of our lives, that definitely holds true. I'm not saying, of course, you have to get out and play the lottery a bit, but ultimately, it's likely to be a small amount of people with a maybe relatively high understanding, at best.
I would like to
because we're solitary creatures in the end. We die alone. In the end, we all die alone. Okay.
I would like to reiterate now for the third time that, and maybe I wasn't clear enough. I'm not saying that if you leave your house, you will meet people that you agree with, and you will form relationships and bonds that will lead to a great understanding and a vast friendship. What I'm saying is the potential to meet people who meet the qualifications for such increases by meeting people in general.
What a meaningless statement.
Exactly. It started as that, and then you argued against it, and I had to push again.
No, I think I argued context against it. I argued that the context is that
I definitely agree.
The likelihood is a low difference impact.
Possibly. It
Likely.
depends on your personal interest. I feel like if I'm willing to give that most people don't have many people that are like super close to them.
Yeah,
they have their handful, and then they have they have their few, maybe at the 90%, and then they have everyone else is around 75.
And what's the sickest part of it all?
What's that?
You know what's the sickest, worst part of it all? Most of these people, these dumb fucks, confuse their children with friends. They think they're close to their stupid ass kids that they really aren't like at all, don't understand or understood by them at all.
The same people that are like, oh, I wanted to...
And their kids die alone too, just so you know.
I wanted to do this thing when I was a kid, so surely that's what they're going to want to do. Like, I wanted to be a karate master when I was a kid, so I'm going to make sure that they take 4 different types of martial arts, and they're going to get good at it, and they're not allowed to quit. Because I quit because I was a quitter, and they're not gonna. I think that's extremely fair to say. And I think that is pretty much a universal experience. I do know people. I should say I know one person in my life who has
4 friends.
Who has like they overextend. They're so extroverted. They overextend themselves in all facets of life, of like their work and their relationship and their family and stuff like that. All the different like friendships that they've had for years or whatever, and they try to make time for all of them.
I'm going to fight on this.
Well, I'm not saying that it's common by any means. I'm saying I know one person
true?
that I don't know how deep their relationships are. What the point that I'm trying to get to is that it looks fucking exhausting.
Agreed.
And it looks absolutely dreadful. Like I see them, I dated this person for a while, and first of all, just getting like personal time with them was like a chore, but I understood that that's who this person was. They had a lot to give, and they wanted, lots of, relationships with people. Yep. And I get that.
It's a 100%. Beautiful thing. It is beautiful.
It really is.
People, yeah.
But I also see when they're like, suffering. I was the person they could be around when they were like exhausted. Yeah. So most of the time when we were together, we were like, I worked a lot at the time. So we were just like
patching wounds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Repairing armor and patching wounds. Yeah.
And it's good to have someone like that in your corner. And I do feel like at the time that was one of I felt more understood by any partner than I've ever had, by that person. And I felt, definitely a closeness there. So it wasn't like there was a jeopardy at play because of it, or at least it never felt that way by any means. So I don't know. I feel like it just, even if it is possible for that to exist, as rare as it still is a fucking chore and a nightmare.
I don't want to offer pushback here, but I feel like there's a couple things happening that make what they think is happening not true. I can run it for somebody else, but I don't think these things are compatible.
How do you mean? In which ways do you mean?
All right, let's establish our base. This has got to be I got to go after this. All right, baseline. Yeah. We agreed 99.5 is maximum, right?
Maximum, yes.
51% is like baseline love / like good understanding of a person, right?
Sure.
Limited time, right? Making limited amount of mirages of other people, right?
Yeah.
Because
sure.
there's too many people trying to be understood or to be understood by happening, right?
Mhm.
And these people that are very extroverted like this, they think often that they either think one of two things. They think they're having a lot of like more superficial friendships and encounters and enjoying that beautiful aspect of it, or they think they're having a lot of deep, close encounters, right? The second line of thought is almost always either selfish or delusional, because it is not easily possible. It is not, like you said, it's exhausting. The logistics alone, the time. Think of how many hours we have talked to each other about like deeper personal shit to get in my mind, well below 90% understanding. In your mind, maybe 95. To have that, let's say, most optimistic version of that going simultaneously with the time needs, with other time, like the temporal factor, the shrimp tempura factor is such a limitation. To have that with multiple individuals on a consistent basis is either near impossible or delusional. And I think a lot of people either know it's more superficial, but they're enjoying it in a positively selfish way. Like in a, hey, it's okay, it's superficial, I get a lot out of it. I may kind of think these are a little deeper than they are, but I get a lot out of this, a bunch of different relationships like this, and it's awesome. Or they think they are actually very close to a lot of people they are not close to at all, not understood by much at all, but it is what makes them happy, but it is not what's actually happening. That's my argument.
I agree with that, actually.
Based. Sarah suffers from this a little bit. Like suffers might be the wrong word.
I was gonna say that's strong language.
Well, I think sometimes it is up because she like really enjoys spending time with a lot of different people. Like she enjoys going to parties and shows, and it doesn't have to be people she's close with. Like she enjoys new relationships. But I think the part she might suffer from is, I think oftentimes it leaves those people wanting more of it because they're not getting the like deeper parts of a relationship with as many people. We're like,
sure.
You compensate by having more friendships, but less of the true understanding.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think so.
I understand the somewhat. I understand the desire of that, of like, I think it's definitely more of an extroverted thing. I know there are introverts that do too, of like, there are people that are more introverted that want to, like, they just want to do shit. And it's like, that's cool.
Those people aren't that introverted though.
Yeah.
They're confused.
They're not really about it.
No.
They're like we are. They're not full hermit status.
Yeah, they're confused.
But, I think, it's so much work. I mean, even maintaining the relationships and the things that I do I feel like it's so much of like
talking to you every week.
I know, really. And then the D&D every other week. We do the podcast every other week, the D&D every other week. My therapist once a month is just yapping.
Yeah, that guy's always yapping. Yap. Fun stuff, though.
Fun stuff.
Do you think our percentage understanding went up or down this episode?
I think it only stands to have gone up. I think.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I feel like, honestly, we might have gone down a point, but we're at such a excess. There's no harm, no foul. It's natural to fluctuate.
That's fair. That's also fair. Yeah, exactly.
We're at such an excess, we could do no harm.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to the. I'm going to give you a list of 100 things, and you have to.
That actually would be
rank,
fun, though.
We have to rank them on a scale, and I'll previously Matt rank the scale, and
It should be something where we can actually measure it, like 100 pieces of something, and we know the other person did 50 up, 50 down. We have to predict and see how many. Yeah. I feel like there's something to that.
Absolutely doable. Oh yeah.
I also really liked when I yelled that people's children would die alone.
Yeah, that was really funny. They would die alone. Too, yeah.
Because they will.
Thanks again for listening, everybody. Thank you to Approaching Human for the use of his music. You can find his work on SoundCloud at Approaching-Human.
Thanks, John. Love you.
Make sure to check out the show page at Trash Cats Trashcast on Instagram for news and art from the show. Check out Facebook for the memes.
For the memes, if you're super bored, you can check out my trashy art on Instagram at SkyZXSKYZSX. We got a big art philosophy one. That is genuinely exciting. I look forward to us getting into that. And we got I don't want to call it a debate yet, but a conversation on the horizon, and we got some other fun stuff coming up. So
fuck yeah,
stick around.
That's going to be all for us today. Stay classy, eat trashy.
Go fast, eat trash.
That was very fun.
Needlessly combative, but it